Anna!
Hey guys, another episode of Road Break. This time we won't do predictions. We're gonna do something a little different.
We're going to be doing a list this time. WWE likes to create their own lists on Instagram. We're going to be dissecting one of their lists. WWE likes to create their own lists on Instagram and rank them their way. And most of the time, the way they rank them, it's pretty bullshit.
Or the outcome of the list are like really bullshit.
Yeah. I don't know who does their ranking. I'm sure it's somebody in the back that just doesn't care or is trying to be sort of political with their answers. So we're going to be dissecting one of their lists and we're going to be telling you the way we think it should be.
We made our own list based on their topic.
Yes. The topic of their list was WWE's biggest betrayals in their history. Now, this was only 5. It went, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it wasn't a huge list. Normally you see lists that are compiled, like usually it's top 10, something like that. But because I think it's on Instagram, it's sort of a shorter list.
They need to make it a lot shorter so it's Instagram available. Yeah.
So I'm going to read down a list of WWE's top 5 of the biggest betrayals in WWE history. And I'll let you see what theirs is and let it sink in. And then we're going to tell you ours.
Yep.
Theirs is, number 5 was the Bella Twins ambushing Ronda Rousey. Number 4 is Kevin Owens ruining Chris Jericho's Festival of Friendship. Number 3 is Shawn Michaels throwing Marty Jannetty through the barbershop window. Number 2 is Evolution dumping Randy Orton. And number 1 is Seth Rollins betraying The Shield.
The Shield.
Now, for those of you who are big fans of WWE, then you should be big fans of WWE history. That list shows nothing of WWE history. It just shows WWE political agenda. You should see that basically because the Bella Twins ambushing Ronda Rousey is on that.
And it's fairly new, like.
Yes, yeah, I'm sorry, but that there is no way that should have made the list. I'm sorry. Neither should have the Kevin Owens.
Exactly.
Attacking Chris
It's brand
Jericho.
new, and I will say, like, for example, the Bella Twins and Ronda were never even a tag team. They were never best friends.
They weren't.
Why is that a betrayal? If anything, Natalia.
Well, I'm sorry. Yeah, that's the thing. What, they were friends for 3 weeks?
Exactly.
Something like that.
Exactly.
The same thing with Owens and Jericho. I mean, there was a nice little story going on, but there's no way that should have been on the list.
If you were saying about throughout the whole history, that shouldn't even made a spot.
No.
Maybe if you do the 100 betrayals of our time.
Yeah. If you do 100, I'll say sure.
But not even in the top 5.
Yeah.
So yeah.
If we're gonna go down our list, we go in depth. We do have honorable mentions. We have 2 honorable mentions. One of them is Shawn Michaels and Triple H when Triple H attacked Shawn Michaels. If you guys do remember, it's on the internet. You can find it anywhere.
Or in the network.
Yes.
For $9.99. See, we're plugging you in, WWE.
But it was a sort of DX reunion. Shawn Michaels came out with Triple H, and they had a nice little reunion.
02, right?
Yes,
it is 02.
I believe it's 02.
It is 02.
Yeah, because they fought at SummerSlam 02.
Yes.
But they had a nice little reunion. Michaels was on the mend with his back after 5 years, I believe.
Yes.
And, they were doing the whole little DX thing, and then all of a sudden, Triple H pedigreed him in the middle of the ring.
In one of the worst pedigrees ever.
It was, well, again, I think that's when the pedigree that he normally did when he held the arms was being outlawed.
Yeah.
Especially, he didn't want to do it to Michaels because they didn't know how well Michaels could move in the ring.
Yes.
But that is an honorable mention because it did lead to one of the better feuds going into 2002, and it was so good with a lot of the matches, but we do want to mention it did not make the list simply because when you look at the feud outright, Triple H won the majority of the matches and never put Michaels over.
Every single match, the one-on-ones that they had, Triple H always came on top.
You know, you had Michaels winning at SummerSlam, which was great. You know, you had him with the comeback. But again, that wasn't for a championship.
Mm-hmm.
And then you had Michaels win in the Elimination Chamber, but he dropped the title immediately.
The next month at Armageddon.
So, every single title match after that, Michaels never won. So
and they had several.
Yes.
Several.
They had a lot of matches.
The feud even went to almost 2 years. If you think about it, because it started out with the SummerSlam thing after he attacked him,
mm-hmm.
and then they went to the Chamber, Armageddon, then 2003 they kind of stopped.
It went all the way up to 20, dude. WrestleMania 20 with Benoit.
And it ended a little bit after that in the Hell in a Cell, Bad Blood.
Mm-hmm.
But that's when we and me always said Shawn Michaels should have won.
Yeah.
But then, of course, Triple H came on top. Great feud, though. Great feud. They went at it in every single stipulation. Last Man Standing, Hell in a Cell, you name it. Yeah, you name it.
The other honorable mention, I would say, is when Paul Bearer turned on The Undertaker. I never would have seen that coming. It was really a shock to, I think, everybody, because Paul Bearer was an intricate part to The Undertaker's mystique.
Yes.
But Undertaker went on to have a very successful career after Paul Bearer.
Mm-hmm.
And Paul Bearer, I did like the aspect of him and Mankind for a little while, anyway. It wasn't great, but it was still decent.
Yeah, I will say that when it comes to that, nobody saw it coming. But when Paul Bearer did what he did, it also set up the feud for Kane.
Yes.
He set up the whole storyline because he started managing Mankind, and then because the Undertaker still was coming on top, then it's your brother Kane is alive. Your brother Kane is alive, and then they feuded for such a long time, and it was really nice to see the whole conclusion of it, or the going full circle, when the Undertaker came back on 2004. Whoa, yeah! And then he aligned.
He aligned
himself with the Undertaker. And then he betrayed him again in 2010. Remember when they went Kane and Undertaker for the World Heavyweight Championship?
That was stupid.
That was bullshit.
That was.
But, I mean, it was good because it showed another side of Paul Bearer also.
Mm-hmm.
And it also gave the Undertaker a chance to be on his own, to cut his own promos, because pretty much the Bearer was the Taker's mouthpiece.
Big time. Big time.
But like you said, without Paul Bearer, the Undertaker will not be the Undertaker.
No, especially early in his career.
Yeah, because he was green, not great at the promo.
No.
So I will say, it is an honorable mention because you never saw it coming, and is a legit betrayal because they were together for the longest time. During that time, you couldn't see the one without the other.
Yeah.
So that's why honorable 2 mentions for that.
And now we'll get on to our list of what we think should have been the top 5.
The top 5, yes.
So at number 5, we're going to go with the Mega Powers Implode. For younger fans, they're not going to know what this is. But back in the 80s, it was at WrestleMania 4 when, this was a year-long storyline.
Yeah.
Where they had Hogan be a part of... For the first time, Hogan wasn't actually in the main event of WrestleMania. And Macho Man Randy Savage won the title in what was one of the greatest moments you can probably argue in WrestleMania history, when he won the tournament.
Yep, against Ted DiBiase.
But again, they had to have Hogan be a part of the championship match. They had Miss Elizabeth run back because Andre the Giant was in Ted DiBiase's corner, and Miss Elizabeth came out with Hulk Hogan, and Hogan came in the ring with a chair, hit DiBiase, and then
that set up for the elbow.
That set up for the elbow. Randy hits the elbow. Done.
Champion.
And always that was then the
the madness and Hulkamania.
The handshake and the Mega Powers were set up.
They
and that was
were born.
the year long of the Mega Powers. Which my favorite moment was at SummerSlam when Elizabeth took off her skirt
Oh yeah.
because she had a beautiful ass. Um, but it was really nicely done, and in real life, it was said that Randy was very protective of Elizabeth,
Yes.
and at one point, I don't remember what pay-per-view it was, where Elizabeth got knocked off of the apron, and Hogan carried her back.
Yeah, and that's when like the feud was like you see like tension between Randy and Savage.
But that's when
I mean Hogan. I'm sorry, Hogan.
That's when Randy turned heel and pretty much beat the shit out of Hogan, and then you had the whole Mega Powers imploding, and it was a very good story.
It was a year long, and like you said, like well, Randy always said is like you promise that she will always be protected, like nothing will happen to her.
Yeah.
You promise that, and then she got knocked off or something, and then my dad made Macho Man turn heel, and then the Mega Powers there were a lot of tension between them, and that's when they set up the feud for WrestleMania 5.
Yes, which of course they had to have Hulk Hogan win.
The Roman Reigns of the 80s.
Yes.
So-
Unfortunately, Hogan won that.
One of the worst parts is elbow, and he gets right back up.
Well, again, Hogan was not known for putting people over.
Yeah.
He never was. It's very unfortunate, but that's what happened. We all know it. But again, I do enjoy. I always did. I always enjoyed the year-long story that they did tell.
Because that to me was one of those tag teams that even though the fact that they were never champions is one of the greatest tag teams of all time.
I will definitely.
Because it was the two main forces of the 80s
yes.
of the WWE at the time. They always say it like when they introducing themselves, it's like the Madness and Hulkamania come into, and that's what the name is, the Mega Powers.
So I will definitely agree.
I love like that's what got me into professional wrestling. Seeing Randy Savage against Hulk Hogan. I never been a fan of Hulk Hogan. The person that made me a professional wrestling fan was Macho Man Randy Savage.
And if you're a younger fan, go back and watch it. It is great. It's great storytelling.
It's great.
And watch Randy Savage's matches because he definitely was a better wrestler than Hulk Hogan was.
If you think in the 80s it was, Warrior, Hogan, to me, Savage tops them all.
Oh, I
tops
agree.
them all.
I agree.
Some people will argue with me that Hogan, Macho Man Randy Savage was the man right there.
That's because he had wrestling skill and he had promo
Exactly.
ability.
He knew how to portray himself, and he was a good wrestler at the time.
Plus, he had Liz.
And, yeah, the most beautiful manager of all time.
Amen.
So, anyway, let's do the next spot.
At number 4, we have Owen Hart betraying Bret Hart. And I really enjoyed this one. This set up for a huge feud between brothers.
Real life brothers.
And, Owen was... When they brought Owen in, he was relatively young. And he was in the shadow of Bret Hart, which is what made for the great storyline. He was always in the shadow of Bret. He didn't want to be. He was looked at as kind of like the crybaby. But there's no doubt that Owen Hart was one of the better technical wrestlers of all time. It is very unfortunate what happened to Owen when WWE had him become the Blue Blazer again.
The Blue Blazer. Over the Edge, 1999.
And and unfortunate that he fell and passed away. That is one of the more unfortunate things that happened. Because, I think he would have made a great WWE champion. He is to me, had great matches with everybody.
Mm-hmm.
But this set up a great feud. WrestleMania 10, the match with Bret Hart that he had, one of the great matches at WrestleMania.
And he won, right?
He did.
He won.
He beat Bret Hart, which, again, to me, bullshit. Because
then he becomes champion.
Because
Bret
Hart becomes champion at the end.
That's one of the things I would like. I'm sorry that I'm interrupting you, but that feud should have ended with Owen becoming WWE champion.
I would have been fine with it.
Especially if he is the heel.
Yes.
And Bret chasing after him.
I would have been fine with it. I liked the fact that, because they were pushing Owen. He won King of the Ring, stuff like that. They were pushing him. But then you had the steel cage match at SummerSlam, which is one of the better matches in SummerSlam history.
Exactly. Yeah.
These two had great chemistry.
Oh yeah.
Because they were two great technical wrestlers.
Exactly.
So, the storyline itself is so good. And when he did turn heel, it was when you had all the brothers in the ring.
Oh yeah.
It was a tag team match with all the brothers. And, he got pissed off because he was the only one eliminated in the match. It was an elimination tag. And that's when he got eliminated. And he just kicked Brett under the leg because his knee was injured. It was very good storytelling at that time. Which I wouldn't say you didn't see good storytelling in WWE at that time. In the early 90s, you saw good storytelling. It was the characters that you didn't see.
They were poorly,
You had really
poor
bad
characters. The storylines were decent, but the characters Doink and
Doink. You had the Gobbledygooker. You had Bastion Booger.
the guy with what is
Jim
the guy?
Knuckleball Schwartz.
The guy with the thief.
Repo Man.
Repo Man.
Repo Man.
Repo Man.
Max Moon.
Yeah.
All bullshit characters.
Nails.
Awful.
Yeah.
He tried to kill Vince.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Honorable mention to Nails right here. Robrick.
But anyway, to me, one of the better rivalries, definitely of the early 90s.
Especially when you bring real life situations, and this continue with a lot of storyline. Also when the British Bulldog was involved. And
it did.
Yeah.
It did. It came to full circle because then they actually ended up banding together.
Yeah.
To reform the Hart
Foundation. Yeah. And they went against the X.
Yeah.
And all of that.
I love it.
Yeah. Yeah. You're right. Then number 3 spot.
Number 3, we're gonna go with the Shield, and Seth Rollins betraying the Shield. A lot of people like this higher. I'm not gonna put it higher. I don't know if you're gonna agree.
No, absolutely not.
People put it higher, I think, because everybody today is not interested in history in WWE. But to me, no. You fans who are so interested in the bullshit stuff that happened only a couple years ago, but they never focused enough on pushing all 3 of these guys.
Mm-hmm.
Seth Rollins, it was great to see the heel turn. You didn't see it coming, I don't think. But the fact of the matter is, Rollins had a really good push after this happened.
Yeah.
He joined the Authority. That was his best run, in my opinion. After that, he has not been really the same.
He has his moments, but he's not the same. He's not as huge as he was.
He could have been. He had a really, really good run with the IC title and was on fire in the summer, but they ruined it when they put him with Roman and had to rejoin
the Shield
for
again.
the 3rd time.
Yeah.
And that's when all of his momentum went.
Yes.
Down the toilet.
Yes.
He could have been huge then if they would have had him challenge and beat the Beast at SummerSlam.
He should be slaying the Beast at SummerSlam.
That's when it
not
should
right
happen.
now. Not right now.
That's when it should have happened.
Because he was on fire after the Gauntlet match.
Yes, that's when it should have happened.
Yes.
But they fucked everything up then. But anyway, back then, Rollins had a huge heel turn. That was great. Ambrose should have been pushed huge when it came, like we said earlier, in one of our other
in the predictions
video for Fastlane.
And the channel.
32 at WrestleMania 32, Ambrose should have been challenging for the title then.
And he should become champion. He should have been the one becoming champion of WrestleMania 32.
The problem has always been Roman Reigns. Yep. The problem has always lied with Roman Reigns, and people, I think, are blind to that. They want to say Roman is this great guy, and he may be in life a really nice guy, but the problem is you cannot build your company around one person.
Around one person, yeah. That's the main issue because, like you said, 2 of them were able to branch out from the Shield, but then Dean was always being left out. And why is the main reason, and I would like to ask all of you, why is the main reason that he wants to leave? Because he feels left out.
Yeah.
Even they do it in storyline. Drew McIntyre said, the Shield needs you more than what you need the Shield.
Oh, I agree.
And he even said it in the promo.
They tease that so much.
Because it's the truth. They know, and I know that within Dean Ambrose, he knows that he's the only one that is not as featured as Seth and Roman. And he was not able to become this guy, this main event guy. He's always been mid-card.
I agree.
Even when he became the WWE champion, he's still mid-card.
Yeah.
He didn't main event any show.
He wasn't featured.
So for that reason, I believe that it shouldn't be as high.
No.
He's one of the most.
I would say storyline wise, it's a big moment in the more recent years.
It's more recent. That's all it is, because there hasn't been because of the way WWE operates now. There's not these big stables or like these big groups, and that the Shield was the last big group to ever break up.
Yeah.
For example, this will be comparable as like the New Day.
Yeah.
One of them will betray the other two.
Yeah.
So for that reason, it stays on number 3, and I believe that it deserves number 3 spot.
Our next choice is going to be Evolution.
Number 2, yep.
Dumping Randy Orton. That was on the other list, but it was a huge and memorable moment. For any of those who did see it, I saw it live. I remember watching it as a child. It was it was a huge moment. Evolution in the early 2000s was the faction that ruled Raw.
Yep.
Flair, Orton, Batista, Triple H. Triple H held the World Heavyweight Championship so many times during that.
Out of the 14, I think it's like 10.
It was so many times.
Yeah.
But it was a dominating faction. And I love it so much at this time because it created 2 megastars for WWE. Okay? Randy Orton went on to do great things.
Yeah.
Okay? Me personally, I liked him a lot better in Evolution when he was the Legend Killer. I was a lot more fascinated with him then than I was when he did break up and go on to do other things and won all his championships. But to me, I'm not going to argue with what happened. He became a huge star.
Yes.
And was a huge recognizable name for
Yes.
WWE.
Yes.
And when you go to Batista, look at what happened. Main eventing WrestleMania the
year after.
The year after.
The year after.
For WrestleMania 21 with Triple H.
Yep.
They went on to have a great rivalry.
The best match, Vengeance 2005. Hell in a Cell.
That was badass.
That was a great match.
Huge and great match. And we're going to see that now for this Mania.
And it's because it's revisiting that feud because it was that big.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it made one of the greatest Raw moments when.
Oh, I love when he did the thumbs up and then the thumbs down.
Flair, yay! It was great. The moment when Randy Orton was betrayed by Evolution is the day after SummerSlam.
Yes.
To give a little bit of history,
people do not want to mention who he won the title from.
He became the youngest world champion, beating Chris Benoit.
Yep.
SummerSlam 2004, and then the day after they're doing the celebration with the Evolution, but then Batista has him on his shoulders, and then Triple H has him and then down, and it created a great storyline.
It did.
Bullshit that Triple H wins the title right away. But
to me, I was very upset that Chris Benoit's title reign came to an end to Randy Orton.
Exactly. That was to me, that was a little bit of a bullshit decision because Chris Benoit should have dropped it to somebody either as big or bigger than him.
Yeah.
So I feel that it is necessary for that storyline should have also continue. And actually, that Chris Benoit went back to be mid-card.
It was unfortunate that happened. I was very upset with that.
We're good.
And then at number 1, we have Shawn Michaels.
Let's redo this.
Betraying Marty Jannetty.
Okay. That's number 2, right?
No, this. This is number 1.
Okay. Well, let's redo this so I can edit it, so I can put it all together. Yep. So number 1 in the countdown is
Shawn Michaels betraying Marty Jannetty at the barbershop. For those of you who don't know,
where Shawn Michaels came from.
Yes, it was the Rockers. It was Marty Jannetty and Shawn Michaels with the barbershop. Sorry, I'm screwing up there. It was Marty Jannetty and Shawn Michaels. They were the Rockers. They were a tag team.
Never became champions.
They were supposed to. They beat the Hart Foundation.
Yeah, in a televised.
It was a non-televised match.
Non-televised match.
But the turnbuckle broke, so they did win the tag titles, but that didn't count apparently. But they started teasing friction between the two.
Tension, yes.
And Brutus Beefcake had his own
barbershop
little TV show, but so did everybody back in the day.
Yeah.
And it was called The Barbershop. And they teased that Shawn Michaels and Marty Jannetty were going to be okay. They were going to still stay a tag team. They hugged and everything. But then Shawn Michaels did the super kick. I don't believe it was called Sweet Chin Music at the time.
No, it was just a kick.
And then picked him up and threw him through the barbershop window. For me, this is the best betrayal of all time. It is one of the best heel turns of all time for me, even. Because Shawn Michaels went on to do great things.
Mm-hmm.
Great heel turn, great heel run. He had Sherry then.
Sherry became
his manager.
His manager. He became this prick.
That's when he became the Heartbreak Kid.
That's when he became the Heartbreak Kid.
He went on to win the Intercontinental title from the British Bulldog.
Then he started a rivalry with Chico.
But even before that, he had Jannetty did come back, won the title from him on Raw.
2 days, and then he dropped it again.
Yeah, so I mean, there were that one to me is very good, just because it started Shawn Michaels. It really kick-started his career.
Yeah, as a singles competitor.
Yes.
It was it was the breakout from being a tag team guy, and then he became just a singles guy, and then he got his identity, Heartbreak Kid, and then he went on, like you said, to do great things. Tito Santana at WrestleMania, IC champion.
Tatanka.
Yes, I know a lot of people love Tatanka. We don't know why, but okay. And then ultimately '96 Royal Rumble, he won, and then Bret Hart Iron Man match.
And even after that, '97 he won back-to-back Royal Rumbles.
Yes, '95, '96.
It was '95, '96.
Yeah, '95.
Because he main evented at 11. He lost to Diesel.
To Big Daddy Cool Diesel. Yeah.
And then '96 he won the Rumble and
then he
ultimately won the title.
The Boyhood Dream.
Yes, and then '97 at the Royal Rumble he beat Sid. For the
title. So yeah, that's pretty much what started. The only bad thing is for Jannetty, he wasn't able to become a singles guy.
It's unfortunate, but yeah, Jannetty never went on to really do anything.
He was a tag team, IC champion maybe one more time, or just that time.
I believe it was only that time.
And then that was it.
He went on to do some tag team stuff in WWE.
He became the Rockers again with Al Snow.
Yeah.
The new Rockers. And then that was it.
Yeah, and I think he just went on to do sort of independent work.
Yeah.
But other than that, he really didn't do anything.
So it is a shame because both of them had talent, but the one that always was better was Shawn Michaels.
Yeah.
And he was able to reinvent himself because then he created Click, the D-Generation X, and all of that, and then of course the biggest comeback on 02.
Yes.
Having the best matches of his career.
Definitely.
Because to me, I will say, if you put me to choose which version of Shawn Michaels you like, I will always say it after 02.
I would agree. The 02 Michaels, when he came back, was better.
Way better.
And he had better matches.
Way better, with everybody. To me, every single feud that he had was even meaningful. With Batista, Triple H, Angle, Undertaker, of course. All of those. Feud with Flair. Legend against legend, icon against icon, Hogan.
Yep.
All of those were great.
Absolutely.
So that was to me, is the biggest betrayal. I would say the most meaningful one because it gave us Heartbreak Kid.
Yes.
So yeah, this is our
compiled list.
And we hope you like it.
And we hope you enjoyed it more than WWE's Instagram list.
Yeah, and if you want us to talk about a certain list, pay-per-views, breakups, what's the best tag team, or what championship should go back, just let us know. Subscribe to the channel, and we'll be back soon. Ada! Awesome, Daddy.